as I speak, I want you young guys, you high schoolers, to hear this. You know, it's about these relationships that you make. It's not necessarily about the wins and the losses. Yeah, you'll remember some games, but at the end of the day, you're going to remember who those teammates were that you played with. You see how Coach Miller and Kip Magner still joke around. That's how it is for us. You know, I see John Bender over here. I can remember when I was a sophomore and he was a senior. Man, those guys were hard on us, but I think it made us better. It made us tougher, and we had a lot of fun. And you'll remember those relationships. So cherish these moments, because someday, you know, football's going to leave you before you're ready to leave football. And I'm at that point right now where I'm trying to prolong that career as long as possible. But so now moving on from, you know, middle school, we had a lot of success. Going into high school, was fortunate enough to play a lot of varsity sports my freshman year. Things were good. And then sophomore year came, and it was a really, really tough year. It started off, you know, we had a pretty decent football season. Won the sectional championship. Came back against Concordia, if anyone remembers that game. We were down 28-7. Came back in the third and fourth quarter and scored 28 unanswered points, and beat 35-28, and then beat Bishop Luers in the sectional championship the next week. And it really was a great way to end our sophomore year in football. But something happened then. Just maybe a month later, myself and a couple other sophomore guys went to a party, and we got in trouble. And you know, we got suspended. We got suspended for over a third of our basketball season. And it was very embarrassing. You felt you let your team down, you let your family down, you let yourself down. It was a really hard moment to go through, and I learned a lot. I believe that God was working in mysterious ways at the time. I was going down one path, and all of a sudden I got slapped in the face and said, "Hey, take a deep breath and think where you're at right now. I want to push you this way." And I think it was definitely a blessing in disguise. So I learned my lesson, and I started to get back on the right path. And then another thing happened that same year. We were very, very fortunate, me and a few buddies, and one of them is in this room right now. We were driving home from a movie on a Sunday night, I believe, or a Saturday night, and we were going about 80 miles per hour down 69, and lost control of the car, flipped it, rolled it 6 times, going 80 miles per hour on the side of 69, and had 6 people in the car, 5 with me. I was the 6th, and we must have been blessed that night. There was a miracle because no one was hurt, except one person. As he was climbing out of a broken window, Cole Hoopengarner decided to cut himself. Yeah, everyone was fine, but you know, again, it was a blessing that we might not see at that time, but it was, we believe it, you know, it was God working in our lives, pushing us forward for a greater cause. So, you know, again, learned our lesson. You know, you can't be screwing around driving, things like that. Finished up a pretty good career in Norwell. Junior year, senior year, we went 14-1, went to a state championship. Unfortunately, lost the game, but had so many fun memories from that time. And you know, those are experiences that you'll never forget. But during that time, I was getting recruited. So I was getting recruited by Purdue and Indiana, Michigan State, Toledo, Air Force, and then this little school named Northern Illinois. I had never heard of the school before. And it was funny because when they came in the first day to recruit us, were like, I had to ask them, "Are you guys D1?" I didn't even know. And so I kind of pushed it to the wayside. I didn't think I'd ever heard of Northern Illinois. And lo and behold, you know, as time went on, Northern kept coming at me and kept really pushing. They wanted me as a quarterback there. They said, you know, "Gentlemen, we want you to play here. We think you can play early on." And that was you know, one thing I learned during that recruiting process was go somewhere you're wanting. It may not be the biggest school. For me, Purdue was my dream school. Going to Purdue would have been unbelievable. It would have been awesome. But Northern Illinois, you know, lowly MAC school at the time, said, "Hey, we really want you to play here," and got some great advice from my parents, and they said, "Go where you want it." And the next day, I committed to Northern Illinois and haven't looked back. So, you know, high school was great. Learned a bunch of Norwell. Norwell is where it all began, in the weight room, like we were this morning, guys. You know, just grinding. You know, because you win games and you lose games in the off season. If you're not in the weight room, you're losing the game. If you're in the weight room, you're winning the game. It's plain and simple. You guys are the core nucleus, you know, going forward, and you need to realize that because kids follow that. And that's something I learned was, you know, you got to be different. You got to be able to be willing to do the hard things, the little things, because those little things will eventually turn into big things. You get into a game, you know, this coming fall, and you're a lot stronger because you were in the weight room. You know, that's a little thing that now has turned into a big thing. Now you're stronger than your opponent. Now you're able to punish them, get them on the ground like a football player, and you're able to have success. And that's one, I think, valuable life lesson as far as football goes. It's very important. So now Norwell is over. I'm moving on to Northern Illinois. Went there first year at Northern. I got redshirted, so I didn't play. We went 2-10. Terrible. We had a school shooting. We had a real bad flood, and we had an earthquake. All in my freshman year at Northern Illinois. It was really hard. It was really hard. At that point, I thought, things were good. I was living the dream. I got a full-ride scholarship. I'm at a D1 university, and all those things happened in my very first year. I'm at a school 4.5 hours away from home. I don't know anybody. That was really hard. But again, I think it was just one of those moments in your life where I was being tested, and because of those moments, it made me stronger, and it made my teammates stronger, and made our university stronger. And from that point on, at Northern, we went on to win a bunch of games, had a lot of success, went to 4 straight bowl games, went to a couple MAC championships. But it wasn't all fun and games while I was at Northern. I got injured my sophomore year, hurt my knee pretty bad, and had a tough recovery coming back from it. And I almost quit the game. I almost gave it up. I remember calling my dad one day, and I said, "Dad, I can't do this anymore. I'm having trouble going up and down stairways. I'm slipping outside. It's not even that slick outside. There's a little bit of snow on the ground. I'm slipping because I can't keep my balance. I'm 19 years old at the time. I'm a young guy. I should be healthy. I should be strong. And I couldn't walk very well. It was hard, very hard for me. And I told him, if this keeps up, this is probably my last year of football." And all of a sudden, a miracle happened. Maybe a few weeks after I told my dad that, after I really leaned on the Lord and I leaned on my family and friends, got that accountability. They really picked me back up. Something started changing. My knees started feeling better, started getting stronger. And, before I knew it, I was out on the field again. I was running, dropping back, playing the game I love. And unfortunately, I didn't get the starting job right away. I had to sit out the first game of the year. I didn't even get a start, which was very hard because I was a 2-year starter previous to that. But in my case, I was very blessed because the starting quarterback didn't play that well, so they decided to play me my second game of my junior year, and the rest is kind of history. Had a pretty good year my junior year, had a great year my senior year, and then it kind of set me up to where I was going to the NFL. And again, I thought it's just crazy how things work. God works in mysterious ways, and I think we need to realize.